Nothing is cringe if you care about it. And that has just resonated with me so much this year. Like, I think a lot of people really block their own talent, block their own careers because what are other people going to think? What are people going to say?
I'm joined by my friend Gabi, brand partnerships manager at Versus. She's worked at Time Out, Wavemaker, Bauer Media, and now scaling partnerships at Versus in a seriously short amount of time, working on some standout campaigns along the way. Today, she's pulling back the curtain on what it takes to build credibility in a male-dominated industry and giving us the inside track on World Cup campaigns and all the football tea.
And I think just the constant counter of being asked to name Liverpool's starting team in 1971 or, you know, name how many goals Mohamed Salah had in this season or that to prove your worth. You don't really counter that when it comes to men, like you don't question that. But for some reason with women you do.
What would you say to someone who feels like they have to shrink themselves in order to be in a room? Gabi, welcome to Real with Rayo.
What an intro. Thank you so much.
You're shocked by that.
Yeah, it's literally, I rarely ever think about my career, so to hear it like that, I'm like, wow, okay, thank you, that was lovely.
I know. I had to do some research about you because I was like, wow, like you've moved around quite a lot.
Yeah.
But in such a short amount of time, you've been able to achieve so much.
Thank you, yeah.
Was that intentional?
Not really. I think, I never really knew what I wanted to do. Like I knew when I was younger I wanted to be in sport. Not necessarily a media world of sport, right, but more like I wanted to be a sports psychologist. And then that all just that failed. And that's fine. And then I was kind of rerouted and then I just ended up falling into media. And I think, honestly, every move that I've made, it's not really been a plan. I've never had a plan. I've just kind of followed where it's taken me, and I've been really lucky to meet amazing people and network and jump from company to company. But yeah, I didn't really have a plan, and I don't think it was intentional, but now I'm at Versus, I'll probably be here forever, so yeah.
It suits you so much.
Thank you.
No shade, but I feel like it's just the perfect match.
Thank you.
I can't imagine anybody else being our rep and
That's so sweet. Yeah, I do love it. I feel like when I moved over, I think it was April of last year, everything just kind of came together in my life, and it was such a nice moment and really stepping into your purpose. And I was I'm so happy here. I love my work. I love who I work with. So yeah, no, it's all come together, but it's been a long journey. So nice to be able to finally say that.
I love that. Okay, we're going to play a little game. It's called Two Truths and a Trophy.
Oh, wow, love that.
Keeping it spicy and creative.
Yeah, love.
So you're going to share two truths of career wins, and then one is going to be an exaggerated lie.
Okay.
And I'll guess which one's the lie.
Wow, this is a good game. I'm really trying to think of what I've done. Okay, number one, I got to make a football documentary with my dream client, and that was basically how I got my job at Versus. The second one is that I met a footballing icon from my football team on a shoot, and I didn't know who he was, and he knew who I was, which was an interesting experience. And then the third one is that I have had a job offer from my dream football team.
Wow. Oh my gosh. This is hard. I feel like everything could be true.
I mean...
Okay. What's the first one again?
So the first one was that I shot a football documentary with my dream brand that got me my job at Versus.
I'm actually stunned, and I always have something to say. Okay, is the second one the lie?
No, the third one is the lie. The football team. Ooh. Yeah. Not yet, but
okay. So who did you meet?
So it's a football player called Joe Cole, and he played for Liverpool.
Oh yeah, because you support Liverpool.
Yes, I do. I've been in a Liverpool jersey today, but I'm spreading my love across teams. Yeah, and I met him, and he came over and said, "Hey, Gabi." And I was like, hey, because we'd recently done a partnership with him, and then he'd been introduced via someone at this event, being like, that's Gabi from Versus. And then I was like, hi, who are you? And he was like, oh, I'm Joe. And I was like, lovely to meet you, Joe. Isn't this amazing? Isn't it the best day? And he walked away, and my dad was actually with me at the time. He slapped me on the back of the head, and he was like, Joe Cole, you idiot. And I was like,
God.
Yeah. So that was... I mean, maybe he liked it. Maybe he liked that I didn't know that he was
you were normal.
Cool,
not fangirling.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have reacted differently if it clocked?
Not really. I think I've been so fortunate in my personal life and in my career to meet a lot of footballers, a lot of famous people that was a weird flex, but that wasn't intended like that. No, and
I love it. This is the podcast of flex. I love it.
You said tea earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I've been fortunate like to meet a lot of people, and I think honestly the biggest respect you can give people is to just treat them as people rather than be like, oh my god. Obviously afterwards I'm like, yeah, that's crazy, but yeah, in the moment I try and play it cool.
Aw, love that. Okay, so we spoke initially about your origin into like sales and media. You said you wanted to be a sports psychologist, but now you're brand partnerships manager at Versus. What was that pivot like for you?
Honestly, at the time when I realised that sports psychology wasn't going to work out for me, it was really heartbreaking. Again, all my life I've never really known what I wanted to do. When I was little, I was never like, I want to be a doctor when I grow up, or I want to be a vet. That was never... I loved sports and I loved football, and it's such a big part of my upbringing, but I never knew. And then I think quite early on, when I was like 8 or 9, I heard someone talk about sports psychology and I was like, that's really interesting, like I'd love to do that. And everything that I did built towards that. And then honestly, like just being a bit of a naughty teenager, I flopped out of all my GCSEs, my A-levels, and just ultimately couldn't get into uni because of it. And so it was like a lot of self-reflection of like, wow, I've really messed this up for myself. And I think when you're young, you think every decision you make is so permanent.
Yeah, it's like the end of the world.
It's the end of the world. And I remember being so upset about it for months. And I could have just deferred for a year and then gone back and done it again. But at the time, you don't have that perspective. And then I basically fell into recruitment. That was my first ever job. Because I love talking and I love people. My dad worked in recruitment for a little bit and he was like, why don't you just give it a go? Like, I think it's one of those jobs. Actually, a couple of people at Versus also did that as their first jobs. And then I got headhunted into media through that. One of my clients ended up employing me. Oh, wow. And then I kind of took a step back and I was like, maybe this is my way to work into sports. Like maybe if I kind of go to the right places and speak to the right people, that will be how I get there. And then honestly, if you'd have told me 15 years ago that I was going to be a brand partnerships manager, wouldn't even know what that was. Like wouldn't even know the route to it, that Versus could exist, that like I could do that job, that I could have the clients that I do. So yeah, it was a bit of a strange path into it and very unintentional, but yeah, I love it.
I love that. And I think it speaks to your strengths so easily. Like, it comes so naturally to you, but then you've also worked so hard. Like, even at Versus, there are times where I haven't seen you... I mean, we saw each other on Monday. But before that, haven't seen Gabi in months.
Yeah.
So it's really, like, you're busy, life gets busy, and I'm always so proud of you. Just to see what you're doing as well, like, even with the watch party that we went to, and how Versus is doing as a business as well. Because, like, I'm not a huge like football fan, but I genuinely like the content because I think it speaks to me as well. Yeah. So I think it speaks to the brand and, you know, the company you work for, but also to your hard work.
Thank you. That's so sweet. And like, I feel exactly the same about you. It's so inspiring when you have a genuine friendship with someone and you're both really grinding and working in your like disciplines. I think that is the nice thing about Versus. I think for me, I love football, but I've always loved the culture and the fashion and music and all of like the intersection of that around it. And I think that's what's so lovely about coming to Versus. Like, I was actually a fan of Versus in like 2017 when it first started. I've followed the platform ever since. Yeah. And I think the fact that this world exists and I can move into it, because for a long time I didn't work in sport. It was only the past 3 years that I'd really had traction in doing sports partnerships and meeting people in the industry. And then, moving to Versus, it was really nice because as much as I didn't maybe have as much experience and exposure as my counterparts, I loved fashion and I love music and I love culture and I love like societal topics and issues and all of that. So it felt like it was a real melting pot. So as much as I have this like really extensive experience in media, it didn't feel as big a jump to just get into sports, which was really nice.
Yeah, I love that. What would 10-year-old Gabi say to Gabi today?
Oh my god, she wouldn't believe it. She'd literally be like, oh, wow. And you know what, I really try and practice gratitude and like speak to her a lot, because I think you'll probably relate to this, but when you're in it, it's so hard to take a step back and appreciate all of the things that you're doing, you're achieving. And it's, I think, the career that we work in as well, media, you're always forward planning.
Exactly.
It's always the next thing, the next project, the next event. And it's really nice just to take a step back and like speak to her sometimes. I think she'd laugh because it's been such a journey and I've done so many jobs and roles that I didn't necessarily love or like want to do at the time. But yeah, I think she'd be so proud and just like really excited by it.
Yeah. What roles did you do before?
So the first role I had in media was international sales. This is probably the most insane role to have as your first role in media, but basically it was me and my director, and this is at Bauer Media, and I sold radio partnerships and print partnerships into Europe and the Nordics. Very, very specific.
Yeah, that is very specific for a team as well.
Yeah, and for only 2 of us to take on the whole of Europe and the Nordics. And it was, basically like pitching to all of these different countries and having to understand the different currencies and the ways of working. And we would basically sell, but we would also project manage. So it was like an incredible job because it gave me so much experience across both disciplines and also cross country, cross currency, all of that. But yeah, it was quite intense. And then from that, I stepped into project management. Actually, the funny thing is the majority of my career has been project management. And the irony is, like, I'd like to think I was good at it at the time, but I'm a type B girly. Like, I am.
She's so type B.
I could share some stories that would shock your listeners.
You are literally type B to a T.
I really had to embrace it because everyone keeps saying, so it's kind of hilarious that most of my career relied on me being super organised, very logistical, when that's not me, and that's okay. What I enjoyed the most in project management was the presenting, was the relationship building, was the renewal process. And then I moved from Bauer to Time Out and then to Wavemaker, and then at Wavemaker I stepped into similar role to what you're doing. Which I really love, but again I was like, I want to be on like the media partner side. I want to be on the sales side. Like, I don't want to do all the finance queries and things like that. If you know, you know.
Yeah, it's the sad part about it.
And then like, to be fair, I really have to shout out my boss Johnny, because looking at my CV, it was probably a big gamble to take on someone that doesn't have strict sales experience. But we were actually working together on something before I joined, and I think him seeing in me the potential, like, I owe him everything for that, because I knew I'm a saleswoman, but like on paper I wasn't. So it was like he took a bit of a gamble, but hopefully it's paid off. Hopefully he'll say that.
I'm sure it definitely has. And it's so interesting that you spoke to him directly, because I think we can all pinpoint that one person in our career that's like really believed in you. And sometimes when you're in that moment, you can't really, it's like, I can't explain to them what they're doing for me. You know what I mean? But internally you're like, wow, I'm so grateful for you believing in me. 100%. And I think that person is so significant in everyone's career trajectory. One thing I've been thinking about recently is like, how can I be that person for other people?
100%.
Because I think so many people have helped me along the way, and so many people have believed in me. But then I always think like, wow, I hope I'm giving that back too, because everything just needs to come full circle. I don't think you're blessed to just like be blessed by yourself. I feel like you're blessed to be a blessing. And it's something that I've been thinking about intentionally, like, what can I do to make sure I'm actually helping other people? Because it's easy to just be like, oh, la la la, life is going great for me. But then when you see like someone like Johnny, for example, taking a gamble on you, like that's opened so many doors for you and ultimately like change your career trajectory.
100%.
Yeah,
I think it's so important. I think that was a big reason I joined Versus as well, is that we do so much in the community and we care for our community so much. Like, we have a thing that we do that's like a mentoring scheme where we have different people from different disciplines in the community come in, talk about their careers, and then offer mentorship off the back of that. And I think for me, at this point in my career, I wanted to give back. I wanted to help the next generation, especially it's a hard landscape now. Like, God, I don't really know if I want to mention my age, but I started working 12 years ago.
You're not old.
I'm actually just
You're
a baby.
so dramatic. You're not old. Why are you saying that? Like, you're in your 50s.
I'm 75 years old.
Like, now you just made that.
I make it a thing when no one else does.
It's not a thing.
Well, I've been working for 12 years.
Okay.
And I think the landscape when I came into that was so different as to how it is now. And like, I really feel for like the younger generations coming through in terms of like, we were just talking earlier about AI and like how that's affecting the workplace. And so I think figures like Johnny, figures like you, figures like me that can really help people understand, firstly, all the different disciplines in our jobs. Like, when you first step into this world, it's so huge. But also just be that support system. I think, you know, like, there's been so many moments over my 18 months at Versus where I've doubted myself, or I've had imposter syndrome, or I've got into a tricky situation, and to be able to have someone like Johnny that I can just sit down with and be super real, and he can like support me through that, it's just really lovely. And I think that's also like, everyone at Versus is like that, which is really nice. But yeah, I do feel not pressure, but like a weight on my shoulders to kind of be that person for the next generation and to help where I can.
Yeah, no, same. What's one of like the most useless pieces of advice you've received?
That's so good. To find a work-life balance.
That doesn't exist.
It doesn't
in my
exist.
opinion.
It doesn't. And in all the time that you spend trying to find that, you could just be going with the flow. Like, I really think, like, for a long time I had a boss that was like, you need to separate yourself from work, you need to like find a work-life balance and all of this. And I do agree with that to a certain or lesser extent. You have to have your life, you have to live for yourself. But I just think it doesn't exist, especially in this world where it's 24/7, 365. And I think a lot of people really beat themselves up about that. And I think it's, you know, like, find what makes you happy, find what gives you drive. If that is working loads, then that's great. But, you know, it's important to find downtime. It's important to rest. I'm guilty of not resting. Yeah. Like you say, there's months where we don't see each other and I'm just...
Yeah. No, it's really hard. And it's interesting we talk about work-life balance, because I think as I've just become older and I've just accepted that I'm an ambitious girl. I have big goals. I don't think that's something that I would ever really achieve right now. I know Emma Grede speaks a lot about trade-offs and how in every season you have a trade-off. So for me, if that means like sacrificing maybe as much like rest or like social time as maybe I naturally would like to, then I'm happy to do that, because it just means long term I'll be able to rest more, hopefully, and have like a nice holiday and maybe not even work if I...
We pray.
Yeah, if I work really, really hard, you know, I could retire earlier. I don't know what that looks like. But I also think the idea of like harmony is a lot more feasible rather than like work-life balance. Definitely. I was reading a Substack about it, and it's so interesting because that idea of like balance, it's not really ideal, and it's not really what's the word? My dictionary.
Like feasible, I would say. My dictionary.
Gabs is my dictionary. It's not really feasible because at different stages in your life require 100%. Different things. 100%. But if things are in harmony, then you can just work in tandem and try and achieve like a nice equilibrium.
Yeah, and it's understanding that everybody is so different. I think you see a lot now in social media, a lot of big voices like giving this blanket approach for life to people, and people really subscribing to it, and it working for some people, but it's like what works for you might not work for me and vice versa. And I think really identifying what brings you joy, what helps you thrive, what makes you rest. Like there are some days I'll carve out to rest, but my brain is firing off and it just doesn't work like that. So yeah, I really like how you sum that up. Finding the harmony, I think, is really important.
Yeah. Also, I think as women, just to add into that, there's so much guilt sometimes. But one thing I've also come to realize is like our bodies doesn't operate in the same way men
100%.
do. And I work with my cycle. Like, I have to be honest, the last 2 days I worked from home. I did not leave my house, and I took it very, very easy and very chill. And that's just because I did not have the energy. Monday and Tuesday, I was like on it. Good. Boom. I can do everything I want to do. Wednesday and Thursday, I just took to myself to relax. And I think that's also my idea of rest, is like not really pushing the limits, just being at capacity and not being at overcapacity, you know? So I think it's just knowing your body and what works for you. But 100%. There's a lot of guilt sometimes, and don't feel guilty if you need to take a day or two to just not do anything, because I do that too.
Oh my God, they're my favourite days. Like, honestly. And I really think as well there's a big argument to burnout. You know, it's better to kind of know you're reaching that limit and take time out, which in the moment feels counterproductive, but then you come back fresh, you come back with a full battery. And I think listening to your body is the most important thing, and that's why you have to do it on an individual basis. You know, I think that's so important. So yeah.
Do you feel like you've had to make any sacrifices to be where you are today?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think I haven't, but I think because I didn't, I've struggled. I think at times, juggling a job and a career and a relationship is probably one of the hardest challenges in this life. And I'm in a period at the minute where I'm single, and I'm really thankful for that, because I've got all these amazing opportunities and I'm traveling, and I'm like, honestly, every day is completely different. I had it the other night where I came home and I was like, God forbid a man was here right now. Like, God forbid, because I'm exhausted.
Real.
And obviously, like, relationships are such a blessing and like bring so much joy. But I think when I look at where my career is now and how much things have excelled for me in the past 2 years, I do definitely think there probably have been times in my life where I should have prioritised my career a little bit more. And I live with no regrets whatsoever. But I think it's really hard because like I can't change it, and like perspective is a really interesting thing. But yeah, I wouldn't say I've had to sacrifice anything, which I'm really fortunate for. I think there are definitely moments where I could have been a bit smarter and sharper with my intentions to potentially get places a little bit quicker. And I think that feeds back into as well just me not knowing what I've wanted to do career-wise. I'm really inspired by women like you that like you're so tunnel vision, you know what you want for yourself, and like that's ever developing and growing. But yeah, sometimes I do think I probably should have sacrificed a few nights out and a few silly side quests, and I probably could have locked in a little bit more. But yeah, I think, yeah, that's probably my perspective on it.
Thank you for the honesty. That's so refreshing to hear, because I think sometimes people are like, you know, I did this and I did this, which, like I mentioned earlier on, trade-offs are a thing.
Yeah.
But it made me remember something my mom always says to me. It's like, what you don't pay for now, you'll pay for later. And it's such a true thing. And like, it could be the smallest thing. Like right now, this is just like on another note, I've been trying to be more disciplined when it comes to money. And I think I could have done so much more if I started taking this seriously a couple of years ago. You know, now I feel like I'm paying for my irresponsibility.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, I should have actually just like locked in, especially when I had less at stake.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like earning and spending, right?
You know, sort out. But no, money is a really good one, and I think there's not a lot of transparency when it comes to money and conversations on that, which I will always advocate for and push for. But 100%, when I think back to when I was initially working in recruitment at like 18 years old, I was making commission, and I was just going out. I was going on holiday, all of that, and I think if I'd known where the world was going to end up economically, politically, societally, like, it would have been great to lock in, buy a house, all of that. But again, you can't have regrets, but I do agree. It's like, the older you get, the harder it gets. Because like you say, there's so much more stakes to play with and things to consider. So yeah, maybe money is a good one.
Yeah, that's the one for me that I'm just like, wow, I really was so silly. And people warned me, but I just didn't listen.
These, I like nice things. I'll always justify a treat.
And for me, like, that's my idea of fun.
Yes.
And that is what my priority. You know how they're like, get your priorities in order? That is my priority.
That is my top priority.
Like, my priority is looking good.
Buying a bag is my top priority, guys. Sorry.
No, literally. But I'm a new woman now.
Yeah.
Now we're smart. We'll still treat ourselves, but we're prioritizing life and all the boring things, but the necessary things. Okay. So I want to switch gears and talk about working in a male-dominated industry. What's a misconception people have about women in football, and what's a compliment that you get that is backhanded?
I mean, I'll start with the backhanded compliment first. Oh, you really know your football. Oh.
No, that's why that's why I'm here.
There was one particular incident, shall we say, when I first joined Versus. I went out with my male counterparts in the sales teams. In our sales team, it's 3 guys and me, including my boss Johnny, and I went out to shadow one of the boys just to see how they sell in our creds deck. And one of the people in the meeting leant across the desk and said, "So do you like football?" And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And it might have, look, benefit the doubt, it might have been meant in an innocent way of like, do you prefer other sports and whatnot? But the fact,
like, are they checking on you? Like, oh, you could blink
actually
twice.
like football? Yeah.
Blink twice if you need to go.
Literally, are you having a good day? But yeah, I think I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt in a minute, and I think that is also something as a woman that we do far too often. But I've heard it too many times now where I'm like, wow, okay. And the thing is, look, I don't profess to know everything in the world about football. When it comes to tactical analysis and all of that, I don't really know. Like, I'm going to hold my hands up there. I understand the game. I enjoy watching the game, but my love for football has always come with more off-pitch than on-pitch reality. So yeah, I would say that's probably, And what was the first part to that question?
What's a misconception people have about women in football?
I think there's so many. I think I'm going to kind of dance around that question but come back to the answer, is that every woman that works in football, I think there's still so many outdated stereotypes we face. Like, you're only in it because you fancy the football players. You're only in it because of this and that. And I think that is such a challenge to, like, overcome. And I think it really is. I think there's space for so many different people and different kinds of people in the sport. But I've seen a lot of that actually over the World Cup.
I was going to talk about that.
Of women either putting themselves forward for opportunities in the World Cup or getting opportunities and being told they're only there because of how they look or because of this or because of that. And I think we've come further. I'm not going to say we've come far because I really don't think we have. We were actually talking about this in a meeting the other day of like the progress of women's football in particular. There's been steps forward, but it's really leveled off. But I think it is just that, like, women are in it for one thing, and it's not genuine love or genuine passion or genuine knowledge. And I think just the constant counter of being asked to name Liverpool's starting team in 1971, or, you know, name how many goals Mohamed Salah had in this season or that, to prove your worth. I think that is just the thing you see over and over and over again. And also that there's not different types of women in the sport.
Exactly.
I think we've spoken about this so many times.
Yeah.
Like, I really love the football fashion side of things. And one of the girls I work with, she's absolutely incredible, and she loves those points too, but she is like a tactical analysis demon. Like, she can tell you every country that has won the World Cup for the entire tournament. She can list off players from whenever. And it's like, you can have all of these identities coexist.
Definitely.
And they all do different things. And you don't really counter that when it comes to men. Like, you don't question that. But for some reason with women you do. And it's such a double standards.
Yeah. Was there a moment you had to actively prove your credibility?
Yes, all the time. A sense of, there have been moments where I have been asked those stupid questions of, you know, prove your knowledge and your worth in football, prove your credentials in working in football. And I think that has also been a really interesting learning curve, because ultimately I've only technically worked in football for 18 months, but I've loved it for 30 years. So that is a really interesting counter when that comes up in conversation. But I have got to a point now where I refuse to. When it comes, I feel confident and competent enough in my role in my career and my brand that I work for and the people that support me, that I'm not going to keep giving into these conversations. I think ultimately fueling them. Like, even if it's a joke, it's at the pub with someone, they say, oh, you work for Versus, like, tell me what happened in this game at the weekend. I don't watch every football game. Like, I'm
That's
sorry.
So silly to ask you that.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't know
like,
what
do you
happened in
think
the
I spent my entire free time like studying every single game? Yeah.
And also that's ignorance for my job discipline. Like,
exactly.
The editorial team Versus are incredible, and they do watch every game and they are really tapped in. But for me, it's more about having my pulse on culture and what's going on in that space. And it's like, I have enough football teams that I follow to try and keep up with. Like, I'm sorry, I can't tell you all the tactics from last night's game. But I really just got to a point where, like, I just don't answer those questions now. I'm not giving in to that. Like, I think it's really ignorant.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've changed any part of you in order to be taken seriously?
Yes. I think as a person, and it's funny because you know me very well.
Yeah.
I'm a massive softie. Like, I'm such a soft person. Don't get me wrong, I love an argument, but I'm not very confrontational.
Yeah.
I'm very much like, I like to make
keep
sure
the
that
peace.
Keep the peace. And so I think I've really had to harden myself. I think even just the competitiveness of sales.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really interesting as well, because when it might have changed now, but when I joined Versus and I'd come from agency world and I'd met a lot of other football publishers, I didn't see any other female sales people representing these brands. And so when I came to Versus, it felt like quite fresh to be like a saleswoman in this world and in this space, especially for like a couple of our competitors. It might be different, or I might not have just met them. But I think knowing that and knowing what I'm going to come up against in terms of stupid questions, comments and whatnot, I've really had to harden myself and like not take it personally, but also find that fire in my belly to really like prove the worth of women in the sport and to be taken seriously and to do amazing things and just kind of be a bit more headstrong with that rather than kind of, oh, do you know what, you were here first, so you win out this time. It's now like, no, I deserve to be here, so you're going to listen to me.
I love that you spoke to that point, and I think that's such a real thing that a lot of women will probably or have faced, even in different like career disciplines. Because I've spoken on my Instagram about like the power of duality and how masculine and feminine energy can coexist but show up differently in the workplace. Because similar to you, like I'm very, very soft, I'm very sensitive, like I love the peace, but then I'm also very direct. And when it comes to work and career, I almost feel like there's two sides to me. Like, I don't play. You know me.
Yeah. I'm sitting there smiling.
You know me, so you can like attest to it. But it's like, I just don't care. And I think I'm more like forthright about that. Yeah. And I do think that I've had to become like that, because I don't want you to think that because I speak softly or I speak, slowly, my words don't hold weight. Yeah. I want you to see my approach and see that I've come into this meeting or whatever prepared. Yeah. But also, like, I know, like, I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
100%.
And I think that's also another thing. Like, just because you're pretty or you're a bit whimsical and like you're funny and you're laid back doesn't mean that you're not smart and you're not competent.
100%.
Like, those two things can coexist. And for some reason people just can't put their head around that idea.
It's so interesting, like you say that. I think obviously I'm a bit silly and a bit whimsical as you just described, and I think
I was talking about you.
yeah I was like, is she talking about me? But like, you can be that person. I think my approach, like in sales, in life, in business, is I'm never going to be that harsh figure. I'm never going to be that best Gabriella. It's like, thanks, Gab's kiss. Like, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
But I like to think that's part of my charm, and I like to think that's why I have the relationships that I do, is because I am who I am.
Yeah.
But it's also the fact we have to think through this many things as a woman is just like, me and my girl group, we've really implemented like think like a man. Whenever we bring a challenge or a consideration into the chat, we're like, what would a man do in this situation? He wouldn't think. If you're applying for a job, he probably wouldn't even look through the job description. I'm overgeneralizing there. Don't come for me, guys. But like, you go for it because you believe in yourself, because you have this confidence that's kind of been instilled in you.
Yeah.
It's like, we need to do the same, and we need to believe in ourselves and just like really go for things. And it's such a shame that we have to consider so many options and things and variables when you walk into a room, when you should just be, I'm here on merit, like, take me as I am.
Exactly. And I think that's what it comes down to, merit, right? Like, don't discredit me or downplay me because of your projections of what you think. Let's strip it down and take it down to the basics. 100%. Are there any women in sports that you admire and you look up to?
So many. I think I've been so fortunate to work with so many incredible women. And honestly, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to miss anyone out, and I will forget someone. But the women at Versus are truly so inspiring and so incredible. From our project managers to our brand and content editor to our editorial team to our editor-in-chief, I'm so blessed to be surrounded by, firstly, so many different forms of women, in terms of their passion points, in terms of how they present, in terms of their identity, but also just how incredible their work is and the quality of it and how considered it is, and how their perspective, like their ability, especially our editorial team and our writers, like their ability to vocalize really complex conversations and topics. Like at Versus, we speak on some very hard hitting topics. I think to have the ability to be so eloquent and do that is just so incredibly talented. And like, I just like, I look at them every single day and it inspires me to go and be better. And I mean, obviously working with you girls as well, like your team, like I'm talking about our little crew. It's so inspiring to just kind of be with women who know who they are, know what they want, and can also enjoy that and have fun. Like that is like the biggest thing. Like at Versus, we work so hard, but we play so hard. And I think that's so important. So honestly, I feel like I'm really in a season of being with women, from my friends to my family to people I work with, that are just like so inspiring and just make me want to do better and be better.
100%. I echo that. I love how you speak about Versus, and like you really love them.
I'm
like,
such a fangirl. It's actually, you would think it would die down.
This is real with Rayo.
This social Versus podcast.
But no, I know you genuinely do. But I can see why though, because it does, even from like the outside looking in, it does show. It reflects in just like the work that comes out, but also just how you work together. And I know it's genuine because like even outside of this, like you always speak so highly of them. And I love that you spoke about like the women that work across different disciplines as well, from like project managers, like people in the editorial team, because they all play a part in shaping like a partnership, for example. And I think sometimes it's really easy to like look at like the front facing people and give all credit to them, but there's a machine behind the machine.
I'm the least important person in this cog of making things happen. And like I think also we need to give people flowers more. Like this is something I'm really trying to be intentional with, is because it takes a village, whether it's in your personal life, in your family, in your friendship group, in your career. We need to support each other and uplift each other more, because if no one else is going to, we should for each other. And so I always want to hero and appreciate the people that do all the different disciplines and you know, are part of it.
I love that. What would you say to someone who feels like they have to shrink themselves in order to be in a room?
I think it's something you can't fix overnight, if I'm completely honest. Like I think there's so much societally we need to change and adapt to. But I would just say like, F it. Like, you are in that room for a reason. And you know what? I actually had it the other day. It's a bit cringe, but I'm going to say it. I looked at my LinkedIn page because I was having a moment where I was like, I was going into this really big meeting and I felt like this little dog in this big kennel. And I was having a moment and like it was so unnecessary. And then I looked at my LinkedIn and I was like, no, like you deserve to be here. And I think just take a step back, I think, before any situation. Just remember you're right where you're meant to be, and never let anyone feel that you're smaller than you are. And even if you're at an early stage in your career or an early stage in a process, you're on that path, you're on that trajectory. Like never let a moment or a feeling define you. And just go for it. Like you have nothing to lose. That's what I will always say.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so important to hear from like other people as well sometimes, because I think we're our own worst critic. And I like that you said you went back to like your LinkedIn just to look back, because we never look back.
No,
we always think ahead.
100%, yeah.
I can't remember, I saw it somewhere that someone keeps like a win tracker of like all good things that they've done, and I think that's such a good idea to start keeping track of.
Yeah,
because I'm sure if you ask you like what are the things you can be good at, you'll have a long list. But then if I ask you what are the things you're great at and some of the things that you've done, you're like, actually I don't know. Not because you actually don't know, but because you don't have the confidence to say it out loud. Yeah. And that's what I really want to like change in the type of conversations we have on this podcast, because I think if you are and you have proof of concept, you should own it.
I think people feel that you're being arrogant.
Yeah.
And there's such a difference between arrogance and like praising yourself and appreciating what you've done and how far you've come. And I think people need to celebrate themselves more. It's so amazing what people are doing and achieving. And I think also in this world that we live in with social media, everything feels so great and grand. Everyone's a CEO at 21, everyone's got a Lamborghini on the pot, and it's like that's not true, that's not reality. And like we need to celebrate the small things, the big things, and everything in between. So I
definitely
agree.
Earlier on you also spoke about how Versus sometimes touches on like really sensitive topics, but always does so in like a really tasteful way. The other day I was reading the article about, I think Ahmed wrote it, I can't remember his last name, but how England is not ready for like a black superstar essentially. And obviously with the World Cup happening and all the noise around like Jude Bellingham and the entire like England team, it's been an ongoing conversation. And I think it's just quite interesting. But what do you think Versus's approach is different from other football content that's already out there?
I think firstly, like, we're brave enough to tackle those subjects and also to hold up our hands and say we're not going to get it right every time. We have such an incredible team, and the process that goes into it is so considered and thought out, and multiple voices from all different backgrounds and cultures and perspectives are heard. And I think that is something that a lot of brands maybe don't consider in their process or their approach. I think that was the big pull for me to come to Versus. As much as I wanted to do sales and be in partnerships, it was the editorial tone of voice that snatched me over, because it was the first football brand that I saw that was speaking up about sexual assault, that was speaking up about even neurodivergence in players, that was speaking up about race and about, you know, political issues and whatnot. And I think it's the fact that we do that and we do it so boldly is what sets us apart. The fact that we're just doing that in the first place. But I think the fact that we have such diverse office, and I think that's also what sets us apart.
Yeah, it shows. Even in like sometimes when I'm reading, I was like,
if you look in the comments, it will be like, is this guy like Caribbean or is this guy Africa? Or is this like, it's so funny.
You can tell.
You can see people like trying to work out where the admin's heritage is, and it's really funny. But like, that's the joy of having a diverse team. The little references that we can throw in, and they're so specific. Like, it's so like, funny.
It's really, if you know, you know. And I think that's why I find it so digestible as well, because it's like, you're talking about football and you're talking about something that, like you mentioned, I might not necessarily know all like the technicalities, but the way you've explained it, I'm like, oh, okay, I get that. Thank you.
It's so good, and it's such a like joy. And to see, I think like the Versus tone of voice is so positive and uplifting, and also fun. Like, these captions are just brilliant and silly in places, and I think to let our audience feel seen as well, I think that's also why we do what we do and why we write these captions, because football fandom isn't just white middle-aged working class men, it's a plethora of people, and to represent that, I think that is like ultimately what makes us so different, what sets us apart.
I find it really interesting that that tone of voice and that love for culture is like has trickled down and is so strong and apparent. Where do you think like the editorial team finds like the confidence to really show up that authentically? Because I think sometimes there can be that desire to be as authentic, but people can get pushback from, you know, like C-suites, and they might be scared to then show up with that authenticity. So how does that show up in Versus?
I think it really comes from the top down. Like, we are so blessed to have such an incredible team. If you step into the Versus office on a Monday morning, you would not be able to point out who's editor-in-chief or who's CEO. We all sit together, we work together, we feed into everything together, and everyone's voice is heard on an equal platform. And I think that emboldens people to speak their truth, to speak from their culture, to speak from their upbringing, their experience. And I think, so like our C-suite, they have all come from such different backgrounds, different passion points, different cultures. And I think that has ultimately just trickled down. And it's so lovely to work in that environment, because there are environments where that, you know, imagination, that inspiration, that ability to like do new things is just cut off. And I think the fact that we encourage that so much, and it started from the top and now has like woven out into this massive team, is just amazing.
It's really beautiful, and it's really commendable, especially in an age where people don't have that boldness to be able to approve that and to stand for something. Because I think now everyone just really wants to be
Safe.
Yeah, exactly. And be politically correct, but actually what you're being is like politically dumb. Like you're not, by not addressing the obvious.
There's a really good phrase my dad always said. He's like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. And it's so true. And I think that is the approach that we have. And I think what's really nice as well at Versus is, even if you're not from the culture or you haven't experienced it, you don't need to, because you can trust in your colleagues to show up for those areas and those people. So yeah, I think you've got to stand for something nowadays, and I feel so strongly about that. Like when it comes to politics, when it comes to careers, when it comes to feminism, like stand for something, you know?
For sure. Let's talk about the fun behind the scenes. We want the tea of working with footballers.
Oh no.
Okay, you can say pause if you don't want to.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to be a bit messy. Okay.
No, I love.
Okay, who's the most surprisingly down-to-earth player you've met?
I got to meet Jurgen Klopp, who's the coach of Liverpool. He's an ex-player, but like he's very well known for being a coach. And I think for me personally, because I grew up throughout my 20s watching him, he's like this big superstar and like felt so untouchable. He's like this god to me, which is crazy in itself. But then I got to meet him and we had this really nice conversation. He gave me like life advice, and
that's nice.
He did also think I was completely crazy, but who doesn't when they meet me? And so I would say like he's been the most impactful in terms of like who I've met that's down to earth. But I mean, I would honestly say I haven't had a bad experience when meeting a footballer. Like I really think these guys are really nice, normal guys. And I think it's social media that kind of warps it into being something more than that. But yeah, I've not had a bad experience.
I love that. Okay, who would you put in your dream campaign lineup if budget wasn't a thing?
Jules Koundé.
That was quick.
There was no hesitation there. So he is a right back that plays for FC Barcelona.
Okay.
He also plays for the French national team. The reason I love him so much is he is so fashionable, but like so authentically himself. He's rinsed all the time online for some of the fits that he pulls out. Like he turned up to a couple of years ago the French national team's training ground in a skirt, and that obviously you can only imagine how the internet reacted to that. But that's him, and he's so like, this is me, this is my style. I love to experiment, I love to try new things. And I just feel to have someone like that in a campaign is just so fun. Like he's done a really cool campaign with Jacques Mousse, and he's just like a really unique person, but also seems very humble, seems very normal. He's kind of the modern, there's another football player called Hector Bellerin, who was really behind kind of, I would say, the big shift in culture in football and fashion. He's very into his fashion, very into his style. Again, taking a lot of risks. I think a lot of people rinsed him for initially. But anyone like that, Hector, Jules, like people that are so rooted in who they are and are fashionable and cool and have that angle, I just think would be so cool for partnership. It's actually funny, I've been trying to slide Jules Koundé into every deck ever. He's way out of budget.
Let's manifest it. You never know.
I would love
you
that.
never know. Okay, who's your best dressed footballer?
Jules Koundé.
Okay, apart from him.
As much as I'm a Liverpool fan, I also support FC Barcelona.
Okay.
I have a real connection to the team, the city. And I would say that a lot of those guys there dress really, really well. There's a player called Ferran Torres who his style is actually really funny. If you look at the evolution of his style in the past couple of years, he's really become like one of the most fashionable in the team, and again has a real identity in how he dresses. So I think that's really cool to see. And I think again, just like seeing these players step into themselves, there's been such an evolution, and it is due to social media, of them becoming themselves and being true to themselves and like having fun with that. So I say he's got a really cool style. But there's even at Liverpool, there's a lot of Virgil van Dijk. He's like, I mean, what a man, first off.
I don't know who that is.
You must know. I'll show you.
Okay,
I'll show you. I'll introduce you to Virgil.
In person.
Yeah, in person. But he's like, there's so many cool. It's funny because we always say that like football was the worst dressed sport for so many years, like abysmal. But now like people take their direct style influence from footballers. There's so many people.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because as the like sport just evolves, fashion plays a huge part, because I noticed a lot of footballers also get like really big like fashion campaigns as well. I love how Louis V sometimes like works with footballers, and it's just nice when the footballer speaks to the brand, and it's like
the
a
way they
perfect
deal
fit.
is such a good like they do the kit for the Spanish national team, and it's so sharp. And then Dior was with France for a little while.
Jacques Mousse also did one.
Modelling. Jacques Mousse hit me up.
It's the World Cup at the moment. We're 2 days away from the final. How have you been feeling so far as someone watching it, but also working in it, essentially?
There's two answers to that. As a person working in it, exhausted, but so fulfilled. Like it's been, I think for anyone that loves football, it's a dream to work in football, but let alone in a World Cup year. It's amazing because every year there's a major tournament. This year's the World Cup, next year's the Women's World Cup, which is in Brazil. So that's pretty cool. Nice. Then it's the men's Euros again the year after that will be in England. So like there's always something going on, but like World Cup year feels so special. So it's amazing. I think honestly, this World Cup's been really difficult for me to engage in because of the politics and the Trump administration. I think that from the start has put a massive shadow on it. I think when you have an administration that's co-signing wars in the Middle East against its own people on the streets, like I think it's really difficult to want to invest in that. Like I made the decision that I wouldn't go out to the World Cup if I was asked, because I feel really uncomfortable kind of being a part of that, and kind of it's really difficult because like, can you separate the sport from the government? And I think you should be able to. You shouldn't, like, the fans should be able to celebrate their countries and their achievements and everything in the tournament. But for me, I've really struggled with that. And I think just even the overshadowing of how expensive ticket prices have been, and for people staying in the cities and everything. But the World Cup is amazing, and I think ultimately what we should take away from it is it's brought people together. Like I'm sure you've seen the videos of the Scottish fans in Boston, and like different countries and communities celebrating with each other in the street, and that's what the World Cup is. It's the world coming together and celebrating each other for our individualities, but also like our common human traits. So I'm tired. It's been an amazing tournament. I'm kind of ready to have a week off. But no, it's been a mixed tournament, I would say. France got knocked out, so I also.
Oh yeah.
But let's go Spain. That's my hope for Sunday.
What does prepping for like a campaign, like a World Cup campaign, look like behind the scenes?
Busy.
I can imagine.
It's, I also just have to shout out like our amazing team. Like, again, for me, the work began in December last year, January, February, because obviously you're planning ahead to the tournament and kind of what the campaign will look like. But it's crazy, it's really long days. I think you have to love it so much and be so willing to give up so much of your life. Like, I've been drafted in to go and do Vox Pops at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. Wow. That's what's also difficult with this tournament, just the timings of the games and whatnot. Yeah,
that's true.
So like the poor editorial team, they're up at 2 a.m. writing captions because the game's just finished, like praying that it doesn't go to extra time and penalties. So that's another hour. But no, it's incredible. It's such a whirlwind, I would say, of just like all hands on deck, all hours of the day, all hours of the week. But it's so special. And I think there was a moment where we had one of our partnerships, we did a residency for 4 days. And the opening night, we were all stood up on the balcony just watching it. And you're like, wow, like this is incredible. And because it's so community-based as well, seeing people come together that maybe couldn't go to the World Cup through various different reasons, being under one roof and celebrating, it's the most rewarding thing in the world. But yeah, there have been some late nights on Keynote that weren't the most fun.
I can imagine. And you made a good point about the time difference. I didn't even think about that for someone like working in it, because I mean, for us watching the game, it's like you want to, but it's not like a do or die. But if you're working in it, that ultimately like affects timelines and like what you said about your editorial team. Yeah. Because also you have to be like on it essentially, because it's happening in real time.
Yeah, especially like some of the partnerships that are hooked around England. Yeah. You have set deliverables and you're like, okay, England, if you can get through to the next stage, that'd be great, because we've still got like 4 or 5 social videos to go. It's things even I didn't consider before I moved into the role that you have to think about, and it's definitely like been so eye-opening. And it just shows like you just have to have a really watertight team and everyone just really like set in what what they're doing, what they need, and working together, because it's such a machine to kind of get everything off the ground.
That's good. What campaign would you say you've loved the most that you're working on?
I had a partnership with Levi's, which was really cool.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, which you came along to.
Yeah, it was so good. I got like a cute tote bag, and that was like a really nice, like seamless partnership. It made sense.
Thank you. It was busy behind the scenes, so that's nice to know that it felt good on the night. Yes, that was like 2 events that we did, and it was heroing their World Cup collection. And I think what was really cool for me then was just seeing this new wave of England fans, and what this new generation looks like, and you know how it represented so many different people from all different backgrounds and disciplines, and just seeing that come together. I think politically in the country right now it's so divisive, and it's really quite a sad place that we're in, with the rise of some really hateful voices being platformed. But I think to see that really the world is a really good place, and like there's so many amazing people, and I think seeing that all come together under one roof and celebrate England and celebrate this collection, like it was just so lovely to kind of see that under one roof, and I'm really, really proud of that. But we've done so many incredible campaigns. It wasn't my campaign, but the residency we did with New Balance, really bringing music and football together. We had Blanco, the rapper.
Oh yeah,
he performed one night, and just seeing.
Oh yeah, that's the one I couldn't miss.
Yeah.
You also had Odumodu Black.
Yes, yeah.
My friend messaged me that night.
Yeah.
And because I had asked some of my friends, because I initially wanted to go, I was like, oh, do you guys want to go? Let's go together. And then last minute she messages me and she's like, oh, do you still have tickets to that? I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't go anymore. And I was like, oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah.
But my friend's friend is like a huge Odumodu Black fan. And she was like really, really wanting to go. I think she might have even ended up going alone.
I would love that if she did.
Yeah.
Good on her.
But yeah, anyway, sorry. Side
No,
note.
I love
Side
that.
note.
Yeah, but like seeing people come together for that, like music and football. And also during the day we did like workshops and different like things that you could get involved in. Like we had Tiffany Calver, an amazing DJ. She came and did a workshop of how to be a DJ.
Oh, that's so good.
I think just doing all of these events for the community, that's what you want with partnerships. You want brands that want to invest in the people rather than just big sponsorships and flashy throwing your cash here and there. Like to really see that invested into the community and these watch parties and these events has been such a blessing this summer. It's been so fun.
Oh, I love that.
I'm also still hungover from all of them.
I mean, how do you cope? Because they're back to back as well.
I mean, obviously I'm a business professional and I
can't even look at you.
Yeah.
I can't look at you when you say that.
You just have to have stamina, like honestly. And even like the project management team, they're there at 4 a.m. building and then going through to 1 a.m. when it closes. Yeah, it's just but I love it. Like I wouldn't have it any other way, and I think it's that passion that fuels you, and then you just sleep for 12 hours the next day.
What's one thing every brand gets wrong when trying to be authentic in football?
I think if you want to be authentic in football, you need to invest in long term. I think there's a trend of when there's a major tournament, brands coming in and sponsorship levels in just like throwing a huge budget at it. And obviously that's great and it will have an impact. You will see a return on investment. But I think ultimately, if you really want to shift the culture, be authentic and get brand love, which I think a lot of brands don't think about. They think about their KPIs and their objectives, but they don't actually think about how the brand's being perceived and the brand love. It's long-term investment. It's doing things for grassroots teams. It's doing things for the communities. It's doing things season long. So when you get to those big moments, your Champions League final, your Prem final weekend, your World Cups, your Euros, people love the brand and they're going to engage with it authentically rather than just being like, oh, they've slapped however much cash behind their name on that sponsorship. It's really interesting. Out of the back of this World Cup, we've actually seen that people are really fatigued with sponsorships.
Yeah.
Obviously with the infamous hydration break and the ads running in that and them extending the hydration break because their ad hasn't finished. Like people are tired of that. They want to see cool partnerships and content.
And audiences are so smart now. And I think that's something that maybe people client side forget because they can pick up on anything. Yeah. Like even down to, I was speaking to one of my colleagues and she was telling me how like she was reading the comments on a post and audiences were complaining about the amount of times they've received this ad.
Yeah.
And things like that, like
frequency's been exposed.
They're vocal about it. Sorry, like
no, it's so true.
It's so interesting though, because I think before, like, you can notice it, but you might just not say anything. Like, oh, just tune it off. Now they're like, stop giving me this.
Oh, Gen Z will be in the comment section, but I love them for it because, like, even with regulation of brands, like, we don't work with brands that are on the BDS list, and there are occasionally sometimes where you're not aware of a brand's involvement, and people will be in the comments.
For people who don't know, what's the BDS list?
It is active participation in the genocide in Palestine. So brands that are either involved directly or through kind of other brands and, you know, umbrella companies basically funding the genocide. And I think it's really interesting that people are super educated and sharing that education. Like, we say we have one of the best comment sections because people re-regulate the comments themselves and, like, educate themselves. And I think it's really great that if something does slip through the net or there's a brand that is doing something, people will call them out. And I, as much as that sometimes can be a bit like, whoa, in the moment, as we've probably all seen in our campaign reports.
I was like, guys, ooh, I'm shy on their behalf.
Do you know what's funny is I don't comment on social media, but my friend's boyfriend, we catch him all the time in the comments on things.
Versus.
No, not versus, thankfully.
Oh, okay.
But, like, random, he'll just comment, and I'm like, do you know what? We need people like you, right? Yeah. That's our engagement rate.
And then it's also like a reality check sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to know when, like, okay, this is not landing the way you thought it would. And it's nice to get that real-time comment, even when it's awkward.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Because criticism is valid.
And this is the thing that brands pay so much for research studies and things like that. You're getting that in real time now. And I think it's so important. And ultimately, if you're not going to listen to it, you don't really deserve to be playing in the field. I think that's kind of my stance on it.
True. I love that. That's really profound. If a campaign goes exactly to plan, what does winning look like for you internally, not just all the KPIs hits?
I think impact is, like, the biggest thing for me. I think every partnership that I do, I want to see a lasting legacy off the back of it. We did a partnership this summer with EE that was about kind of young boys online and stamping out toxicity and bullying and really challenging, like, the manosphere, which is obviously a massive topic at the minute. And I think that campaign was so powerful for me because I really hope that that's kind of, like, prompted some conversations with people, that's changed in behavioural habits. So I think success for me is that there's a lasting legacy and there's an actual impact to the real people. I think social media, for us, we're always looking at media plans and decks. It's numbers, it's not people. And I think if we can actually cut through those numbers and see those numbers as real individuals that have their lives and do things and make mistakes, but we're actually impacting them to do better and be better, I think that's success for me. Like, to see those positive comments, to see that change. It's a big task, but I think chipping away at it, that is success.
Yeah. What's something you would say the industry wouldn't tell you about working in football that you can speak to the real ones who listen to this?
The sports industry as a whole is so competitive, and I think it has this perception of being very cutthroat and very, you know, stepping over people to get what you want and all of that. But I think it's one of the most rewarding industries to work in. I think because it's so fan-centric and people-centric, you can see so much joy, and I think that's such a positive. Again, like, the world feels quite negative and heavy at the minute, but I would say that's probably one of the nicer things I can say, that it's just, like, very rewarding, and it's really cool to see that impact in real time with things that you're doing. Yeah,
that's such a good way to put it, about it being very, like, fan-centric and people-centric. Because the other day I was watching this YouTube video on England's, like, official YouTube channel, and they had, like, Saka, Eze, and just, like, some boys on the England team just, like, talking. And then at the end of the videos, they were showing them, like, fan videos of people, like, I don't know if you saw it, like, people supporting them, and it was so sweet. And I'm quite perceptive, but I could tell that really meant a lot to them, and you could tell, like, they're like, wow, these are real people, like, betting on us and like betting on the country and, like, believing in us. And it's such a beautiful thing, because 100%. They're put on such a high pedestal, football as that is, and with pressure playing for your country, I can't even, especially a country like England, like, they don't play, you know, I can't even imagine what it looks like internally, but moments and pockets of joy where they can feel supported and feel, like, valued as human beings, not just as players. I'm sure that goes a long way, and I'm sure that trickles down to, for example, with you working and seeing, like, real people come to an event and, like, you know, real people believing in, like, Versus, and, like, oh my gosh, I met this guy actually at the Levi's. I didn't even tell you this, at the Levi's pop-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I came with my friend and she knew him. Okay. And then he was asking her like, oh, like, what are you doing here? Like, how did you get invited? And then she was like, oh, yeah, Rayo invited me. And she was like, oh, what about you? And she was like, I'm such a fan of Versus. I was like, I'm actually going to tell Gabi this.
So lovely.
I completely forgot. He was like, I'm such a fan of Versus. Yeah. I think they had like posted it on the story and he was like, I had to come. And like he came by himself. Yeah. And it just goes to show you what building actual real community looks like. Not just the buzzword of like, you know, throwing cash at something one time and with that intent of building community, because community is built over consistency and a long period of time. So I think that's really beautiful.
It's really sweet. Yeah, I mean, we have so many lovely stories of that, and I think that's what you want to do. I think football can be so toxic and so negative, and if we can bring that into the real world and really impact people and have them go home having like a good night, that's a win. That's amazing. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to change in this industry? And I know that's such a big, loaded question. It's like you're still navigating.
I'm going to fix the industry in 30 seconds.
Go! Or what's one thing you want to see more of?
Accessibility. I think there's so many incredible talents, and I think Stormzy has an incredible program, the Murky FC program, where he brings through different generations from different backgrounds that might not necessarily have had the access that other people do to get into the industry and into the sport. And I think we need to see more of that. I think we need to understand that like it's so outdated to assume that people with university degrees are the only people that can get into these jobs and whatnot. And I think seeing people from different classes, different backgrounds, different cultures, we need to give people access to be able to do that. And it starts from schools and all the way up through university and into the job market. So I would love to see people really approaching that head on and with genuine intention, because I do think there are sadly some really performative campaigns around that and people doing it. And I think people don't really invest in that. But long term, I would love to just see people being given more opportunities. You know, you don't have to tick all the boxes to get where you want to be. Just be really passionate about your craft and like learn on the ground and all of that. So I would love to see that change in the industry.
Yeah. So well said. So we've come to the final part of the episode. At the end of each episode, I ask my guests 4 questions, and the idea behind those questions is to find your purpose. The 4 different Venn diagrams you see over there.
Love it.
So it's rapid fire style. It's basically the intent to build your ikigai, which is the Japanese concept on finding your purpose. Gabi, what do you love?
My dad.
Oh,
that's my bestie. I haven't mentioned him so far, but like that is my inspiration behind everything.
Actually.
Did I?
You mentioned when he said a quote: "If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything."
There you go, John Lenihan quoted.
Yeah.
No, that's my bestie. He's my inspiration behind everything that I do, and I wouldn't be here without his backing and love. So, yeah,
love that. Shout out to him. What are you good at?
Talking.
Real.
Yeah.
What's something you can be paid for other than what you're currently doing?
Ooh, because I'm currently paid to talk. So I wouldn't want to be paid for it, but like maybe mentorship. Like I feel really, really passionately about that, and it's something that I'm really exploring this year. But I'd love that to become like a work stream for me.
Yeah, I love that. And what do you think the world needs?
Chalantness. Do you want me to
elaborate?
Let me elaborate. We live in a world where everyone's too cool for school, too nonchalant. Everyone's so... And I think it's important to be focused on yourself and love yourself and be driven by yourself. But, like, we need to be chalant again. We need to send love letters. We need to, like...
Bring yearning back.
Yeah, bring yearning back. We need just, like, love your neighbour. Like, I know that sounds so cringy, but, like... help people, inspire people, like do things off of your own back, like say what you're thinking and what you mean. Like I really just wish that we'd all just go back to that. Like we've broken down as a society. We need to like come back together.
Yeah.
Be more
I love that. That's a unique answer. I haven't heard anyone say that. Really good.
Yes.
And the final question, what's your 3-step playbook for anyone who wants to own their career confidently?
Take time to really celebrate yourself. Carve that out. Whether that's journaling on a Sunday night about your wins from the week, whether that's sitting down with people you love and talking through all of your individual wins, like carve that time out to be proud of yourself. Just go for it. Like think less. I think I've been such a victim. Even now when I send an email, I read it 30,000 times just in case I've accidentally snuck in something abusive. Like
not abusive.
Whatever inclusive is crazy, but like, just something silly.
Yeah.
Like I just think less. Like, trust your heart, trust your gut, trust your ability. Just go for it. Like there really is nothing to lose in this life. And someone actually, like the last thing, I really wish I could remember how she worded it, but like nothing is cringe if you care about it. And that has just resonated with me so much this year. Like I think a lot of people really block their own talent, block their own careers because what are other people going to think? Like, what are people going to say? If you love it, do it, live it, be it. You don't need to like think about other people's views. So yeah, I would say they're my...
That's so good, and it ties into what you said previously about being martial art, like just owning it. Just
be you. Like we really, it's very deep, but like we really do get one go at this, and I think it's so important that even if you mess up, you get things wrong. That's like a blessing. You learn more in your mistakes than you do in your wins.
True.
So it's like, just go for it. Like you really don't have anything to lose within reason.
Yeah, of course. Don't go crazy.
Little T's and C's caveat there.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Gabi, I love you so much.
I adore you.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. I'm so proud of you. This is actually one of my favorite episodes. And I'm not just saying that genuinely.
Yeah, she says that to everyone.
Look back.
Girl, I was doing my preparation. No, honestly, I'm so glad you came into my life, and I think you're incredible. You're hilarious, like one of the most talented people, and I adore you.
No, literally, the feeling is mutual. And it's just such a blessing to be able to do this. I really love that we both love our jobs and work has brought us together, but then our relationship has transcended beyond work. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about living in purpose. Sorry, I did not expect this to go down this way, but I'm just reflecting as I'm happy and I'm feeling the feels. You know, I think it's a beautiful thing when you're in alignment. You attract people that mirror exactly who you are, and
it's a process. I think like I've really felt I've stepped into my alignment, and there's going to be moments where you step out again.
True.
And I think like just enjoy the ups and downs, the highs and lows. Like, I love it. I feel very zen. I feel very, look, let's go.
I love that. Well, real ones, if you enjoy this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel so you can see more conversations like this one. I love you, and I'll see you in my next one.